In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said,
"Let there be light."
And there was light.
At this time, the universe was almost utterly dark and consisted only of protons, electrons, photons, and dark matter. Under the gravitational influence of dark matter and sculpted by its inhomogeneities, dark matter halos formed, gathering the protons and electrons together, becoming an incubator, giving birth to the first atoms of neutral hydrogen. These newly formed atoms collected under their own gravity along wispy filaments, which grew with the cosmos. The inhomogeneities also grew, leaving behind some regions with an overdensity of atoms, and others much less.
God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said,
"Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water."
So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky. And there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. And God said,
"Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear."
And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good.
The early continents were still forming. The land was dominated by volcanoes, hostile and lifeless. But deep in the oceans, life had begun. The latest theory is that chemicals spewing from underwater volcanic vents solidified and created the conditions needed for the first cells to form. For some years, simple microscopic organisms were the most advanced form of life on the planet. Cyanobacteria and other oxygen-producing microbes began to bloom. These flourished in colonies of plant-like microbes that pumped out enormous volumes of oxygen. And it was this increase in oxygen that was the key to the rise of the animal kingdom.
Organisms started using oxygen to respire, yielding a lot more energy, which allowed the development of more complex life.
Just before complex life appeared, the world was in the grip of the biggest ice age in its entire history. And then suddenly, advanced organisms appeared.
This hell is Earth. This seething, lifeless mass of molten lava will become home to nearly 9 million living species. But generating life from this will take a chain of events that defies the laws of probability. There are many theories. Nobody knows exactly how or where life began. But it couldn't happen without water. Experts believe asteroids or comets delivered it here. The water is churning with chemicals and organic compounds. Lightning strikes the chemical soup at the right place and the right time. Billions of volts of electricity trigger a chain of improbable coincidences. The chemical's atoms join up in a precise sequence, creating a bundle of genetic material. These fragile genes don't stand a chance in this extreme environment. But luck strikes again. A blob of oily material engulfs a single chain to create the first ever cell.
Then God said,
"Let the land produce vegetation." Seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds.
And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day.
Land plants survive by getting water and nutrients from the soil. They do this by forming a special friendship with soil-dwelling fungi called mycorrhiza. These strands of mycorrhiza reach deep into the soil and drag the nutrients and water back to the plants. But when the first algae landed on soil, how did they survive long enough to form these beneficial friendships? New research suggests that they already had the genes necessary for forming this bond whilst they still lived in the sea. Researchers analysed DNA and RNA from some of the earliest known land plants and algae. They found evidence that their shared algal ancestors living in the Earth's waters already possessed the necessary set of genes needed to detect and interact with the beneficial mycorrhiza. The team of scientists believes this capability was pivotal in enabling the alga to survive out of the water and to colonise the Earth. By working with the fungi to find sustenance, the alga showed a clear evolutionary advantage and was selected to thrive in a very different and seemingly infertile environment. This was the watershed moment that kick-started the evolution of life on Earth.
And God said,
"Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night. And let them serve as signs to mark seasons and days and years. And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth.
And it was so. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good, and there was evening, there was morning, the fourth day. And God said,
let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky.
So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every living and moving thing with which the water teems, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said,
be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said,
let the land produce living creatures, according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind.
And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said,
let us make human beings in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea, and the birds in the sky, over the livestock, and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground.
So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them,
be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea, and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground.
Then God said,
I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food.
And it was so. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array.
בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ והארץ יתותהו ובהו וחשך על פניהם ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים ויאמר אלוהים יהי אור ויהי אור וירא אלוהים את האור כי טוב ויבדל אלוהים בין האור ובין החושך ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום ולחושך דור לילה ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום אחד ויאמר אלוהים יהי רקיע בתוך המים ויהי מבדיל בין מים למים ויעש אלוהים את הרקיע ויבדל בין המים אשר מתחת לרקיע ובין המים אשר מעל לרקיע ויהי כן ויקרא אלוהים לרקיע שמיים ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום שני ויאמר אלוהים יגעו המים מתחת השמיים אל מקום אחד ותראה היבשה ויהי כן ויקרא אלוהים ליבשה ארץ ומקווה המים גרו ימים וירא אלוהים כי טוב ויאמר אלוהים תרשי אורס דשה עשב מזריע זרע עשפרי עשפרי למינה אשר זרעו בו על אורס ויהי כן ותעשה אורס דשה עשב מזריע זרע למינהו ועשע ספרי אשר זרעו בו למינהו וירא אלוהים כי טוב ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום שלישי ויאמר אלוהים יהי מאור ברקיע השמיים להבדיל בין היום ובין הלילה ויהיו לתת ולמועדים וליומים ושנים והיו למאורות ברקיע השמיים להאיר על הארץ ויהי כן ויעש אלוהים את שני המאורות הגדולים את המאור הגדול לממשלת היום ואת המאור הקטן לממשלת הלילה ואת הכוכבים ויתן אותם אלוהים ברקיע השמיים להאיר על הארץ ולמשול ביום ובלילה ולהבדיל בין האור ובין החושך וירא אלוהים כי טוב ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום רביעי ויאמר אלוהים ישרסו המים שרס נפש חיה ועוף יופף על הארץ על פני רקיע השמיים ויברא אלוהים את התנינים הגדולים ואת כל נפש החיה רמסת אשר שרסו המים למיניהם ואת כל עוף כנף למינהו וירא אלוהים כי טוב ויברך אותם אלוהים לאמור פרו בו ומילאו את המים בימים והעוף ירב בארץ ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום חמישי ויאמר אלוהים תעשה אורס נפש חיה למינה בהמה ורמס وحيث عرس لمينه وهي خين ويعس إلهي مدحيث عرس لمينه وثبما لمينه ويث כל רמסה אדם עולמינו ويا إلهيم كتاب ويا إلهيم نعسى أضام بسلمينو كدموتينو ويغدو بدغة أيام وضعف الشمايم وغبيما وخلوغس وخلوغمس ورمس علوغس ويبغى إلهيم أثادم بسلما بسالم إلهيم بغاتا زخاغن جبا بغاتا ويبغى خثام إلهيم ويا مغلهم إلهيم فغوبا ومنو أثاغس وخبشوها أغذو بدغة أيام وضعف الشمايم وكل حيار ما ستعلو غاس ويوم إلهيم هنا نفاتي لخم أدخل عيسى بزغي يزاغا شاعل فني خلوغاس وأدخل عيسى شربو فريع زغي يزاغا لخم يالوفلا والخل حياة غاس والخل عف الشمايم والخل غمس على غاس شربانا فشحيا هتكل يا رك عيسى بلوخلا وهي خين ويا إلهيم هتكل شانسا وهي نطاف ماد وهي عرب وهي بقر يوم هالشيشي